Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. January 26th, we're on a Friday here. We'll get into college and NBA Friday night, not normally known for college, but there is one game on the books that we're in on, and we'll give you that matchup as well. So I do apologize about not being here yesterday, but hopefully you followed along on the Google Sheets and saw all of our plays. Last couple days have been a little up and down, but that's all right. We'll get back to it here. I got a good feeling for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. Also, we got the championship games for football. So if you're into football betting, Google Sheets are a great way to check that out, as well as the episodes that we do put out. We'll probably have that out later today, tomorrow, for those Sunday games to give you plenty of time to match them up with what your bets as well on that one. So we will get into today. We'll get the college game done first. Get into the rest of it here after that for you. So college game, well, one game that we're on, Wisconsin at home against Michigan State. Wisconsin's played really well as of late. So winning on the road, winning at home. Not only that, they're covering, so they're playing well against the spread. Michigan State up and down as they normally are to the hit February, March. So expect to probably be playing them in February and March time. But we are going to roll with Wisconsin today. We will take Wisconsin -1 first half and -3.5 for the game. So the shocker was the one on the first half, and it was only -110 on DraftKings. So something to look at there. Wisconsin -1 in the first half, -3.5 for the game. Then we'll get into the NBA slate. See, we've got, looks like 8 games on the slate tonight. 3 games going off early. We'll start with the first one here. Suns at the Pacers. Suns right around 5.5 point favorite, depending on what book you're at. Total of 243.5. Suns have been on fire as of late. We picked against them against the Mavs, as the Mavs normally beat their ass. They got their butt. I mean, they played decently in the first half. They were down a few. They absolutely destroyed them in the second half. They've had a lot of second half comebacks as of late, coming down from 20 points plus. They have seemed to figure out a little bit offensively how to play Beal, Durant, and Booker together, which is always good. Nurkic has been a solid 5. Definitely more than what they got from DeAndre Ayton, although Ayton had a monster the other night. He has been scoring and rebounding at an all-time low since being traded to Portland. So we do like the Suns in this particular matchup. Pacers coming off a back-to-back. On their back-to-back, the second half of back-to-back nights, whether at home on the road, has been poor, and no Tyrese Halliburton for them leads to this as well. So we're going to take the Suns. We just need them to come out a little bit warmer in the first half to cover our first quarter and first half plays on that one. But we do like the Suns here. -1.5 first quarter, -2.5 first half, -5 for the game. We're not necessarily going with all the stars, but we do like Bradley Beal over 19.5 points. We like Nurkic, who's been playing extremely well, over 10.5 points, over 10.5 rebounds, over 24.5 par, a double-double, which was plus money on DraftKings at +120 to get 10 and 10, and a Nurkic a block. And then also Bradley Beal over 19.5 points and Booker over 16.5. I'm not 16.5. How about over 6.5 assists? Sorry about that. And the Suns over the 124.5 team total. So one more time in this Suns-Pacers game. Suns -1.5 first quarter, -2.5 first half, -5 for the game. Bradley Beal over 19.5 points, Booker over 6.5 assists. Nurkic over 10.5 points, over 10.5 rebounds, over 24.5 par, and for a double-double and a block. And then Suns over the 124.5 team total, as the Pacers leave a lot to be desired on the defensive end, even after trading for Pascal Siakam. So on that one there. So a lot of bets in that particular game. Next game up, Mavs-Hawks. Don't know how the hell to describe this game here. This is how, from a betting angle, you have the worst team against the spread, ATS, in the Hawks in the league. You have the Mavs, which are one of the worst road teams covering in the league. Mavs are favored. Kyrie Irving's out. Luka Doncic has played really well. And the other guy that's really played extremely well for them, I believe, scoring-wise at least, is Tim Hardaway. He's been lighting it up. And the Hawks don't necessarily believe in playing a lot of defense. Supposedly Trae Young might be back tonight on that one. When he's back, it seems to discombobulate their offense even more, which means I like the Mavs even more with Trae Young playing rather than him sitting. So we are going to take the Mavs here, -0.5 first quarter, -0.5 first half, -1 for the game. I will tell you this is not going to be our biggest bets on this particular matchup here. We do like it, but how do I put this? We're not going to like double our normal play or anything like that. Derek Lively over 9.5 points. Hardaway over 19.5 points. Luka's point prop was around 37.5. It's a little bit too steep. I don't care who it is. Especially if there's a lot of ways he misses that. He could have just a good night, which is 30 to 33 points. They could get up really early and he sits. They could get down really early and he sits. There's just way too many ways. The only way I would play Luka point total would be under on that one, but that's kind of hard to do as we know he can explode for 40 points a night pretty regular on that one. So Lively over 9.5 points, Hardaway over 19.5 points. Luka over 3.5 threes, as well as Tim Hardaway over 3.5 threes. That is plus money on DraftKings and FanDuel. I think FanDuel had it like plus 112 when we got it. That was a little bit better then. Luka over 9.5 rebounds. Luka triple-double. You never have to worry about his points. It's just his rebounds and assists. If he's going to play the whole game, which we think this game is going to be within 10 points most of the way, then we'd like that triple-double. Plus 160 wasn't as good as the other night, and if he didn't have to sit against the Suns basically the whole fourth quarter, thought we were going to cash that at plus 310, but we'll go back to the triple-double well at plus 160. Derek Lively over 1.5 blocks. So one more time in this Mavs-Hawks game. Mavs -0.5 first quarter, first half, and -1 for the game. Lively over 9.5 points. Hardaway over 19.5 points. Luka and Hardaway over 3.5 threes. Luka over 9.5 rebounds. Luka triple-double. Lively over 1.5 blocks on that particular matchup. Next game up, in that early window, Rockets-Hornets. Rockets favored by 5.5 on the road at Charlotte. I understand Charlotte is hot garbage. Charlotte did beat Minnesota on the road. They kept the game close with the Pistons, lost it in the end on the road. Coming back home, Terry Rozier's now been gone for a couple games. LaMelo struggled in the last game, and I think that's why they lost to the Pistons, to be honest with you. When LaMelo is firing and LaMelo's got it all working, that team is 10 times better than what it is. LaMelo just needs to score early, I think, and that'll give him some confidence, help out. The rotations are a little bit weird with the Hornets, I'm not going to lie. LaMelo plays like 5 minutes, comes out for like 4 minutes, plays 3 minutes, it's very confusing. It's not a normal rotation that you see throughout the league. I'm a little bit different on that one. I don't know if that's what's stopping Melo from from firing off. But with Terry Rozier gone, there's definitely more on his plate, more scoring opportunities, more assist opportunities in the whole round on here. That being said, the Rockets, though, they do have some good D. Sengun's been a pleasant surprise for them this year on that one. But we necessarily not a fan. Not going to take the Rockets -5.5 against anybody on the road. At home, yes. On the road, no. 223.5 total. And we don't necessarily like the total on that one either. As I've seen the Rockets way too many times score 90 points or score $130 on the road. They're just a little inconsistent for totals on that one there. But we are going to take some player props in this particular matchup. We do like Sengun. His player prop point total is normally 22 to 23.5. All of a sudden, we're getting up to 25.5, so we will take the under on that one. LaMelo Ball, like I said, we do love quite a bit tonight. Over 25.5 points, over 3.5 threes, over 7.5 assists. Sengun, again, under 41.5 par. His par number is normally 38.5, so for that to go up 3, we're definitely taking the under. Sengun over 2.5 turnovers, and LaMelo under 3.5 turnovers, which is plus money on DraftKings as well. And since I couldn't talk through all that shit, let's try this one more time. How about we go Sengun under 25.5 points, Sengun under 41.5 par, and over 2.5 turnovers. LaMelo over 25.5 points, over 3.5 threes, over 7.5 assists, and also under 3.5 turnovers in that one. And next game up, time slot all itself, 5:40 here in Arizona, 7:40 Eastern. Clippers at the Raptors. Clippers making those couple trades as of late. OG Anunoby gone, RJ Barrett there, quickly there. Then they've been making several moves. We'll put it to you that way. They're a 7.5 point home dog. The Clippers have been one of the best teams in the NBA over the last 30, 45 days. They are favored 7.5, 236 total. The Clippers are, like I said, I think team-wise it's pretty easy to read the Clippers and what they're going to get done, what they can do, everything that they've been able to handle. That's not been the issue with the Clippers at all. It's just if you're playing player props quite a bit, they've been a little inconsistent point total-wise, which happens on teams with, three major contributors. It happens with the Suns quite a bit. You don't necessarily know who's going to kind of take off on a nightly basis. Same thing, you don't know if Paul George is going to have a big night, Kawhi's going to have a big night, James Harden going to have a big night, Russell Westbrook going to have a big night, Terrence Mann. They got some options scoring-wise, so maybe hard to get a read there, but trust me, the Clippers are one of the better teams in the NBA. They're going to be forced to deal with in the Western Conference if they can stay healthy. If you like basketball, if you're watching this show, I assume you do, the Clippers being good is a good thing to kind of see, and being healthy to see what they can do in the playoffs. So we are going to ride the Clippers -2.5 first quarter, -4 first half, -7.5 for the game. Scotty Barnes under 22.5 points. I'm not sure why the Clippers come to town and his point total goes up. But we will ride the under there. James Harden under 20.5 points and RJ Barrett under 22.5 points. Harden under 2.5 threes. And then Harden's turnover, which we have cashed at an alarming rate, probably 80% plus so far this season. They have moved his turnovers from 2.5 to 3.5. We are still going to take the over there at 3.5. It is plus money on that one, so an opportunity maybe to make a little extra change on top of the wager. So we'll go through this Clippers-Raptors game one more time. Clippers -2.5 first quarter, -4 first half, -7.5 for the game. Scotty Barnes under 22.5 points. RJ Barrett under 22.5 points. James Harden under 20.5 points and under 2.5 threes. And then also James Harden over 3.5 turnovers. Next game up, Cavs at the Magic. This is a back-to-back series. The Cavs just played there. Bucks finally did cover. It's been a minute for them. Normally, though, when in these series that have been same game, same teams going against each other at the same venue, it has been extremely hard to sweep both. Unless it's the Celtics playing a couple games at home against somebody. They've seem to be the outlier on that. But it's been extremely tough for every other team in the league to do so. So we're going to go back to the Cavs here. Like I said, they were getting 5.5. It's 5.5 to 6. We did grab it at 6 on FanDuel. It's 5.5 on DraftKings at the moment. But Cavs plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3 first half, plus 6 for the game. Donovan Mitchell over 30.5 points. Sam Morrell, who we're going to be riding quite a bit in this game, comes off the bench for the Cavs, over 10.5 points. He's hit this in 8 out of his last 10 games. And not only has he hit this, he's normally smashed this. Sam Morrell over 2.5 threes. Then we're going to have some longer shots with Morrell. 4 plus threes was plus 170 on FanDuel. 5 plus threes was plus 420 on FanDuel. So we'll play that. Jarrett Allen over 11.5 rebounds. He got over this mark in just the last game against them. And Giannis over 2.5 turnovers is actually plus money on DraftKings. So a definite value there. As well. And then Jarrett Allen for one more play over 1.5 blocks, as he's like plus 165 on FanDuel for 2 blocks plus. So definitely want to get on that one. So one more time, this Cavs-Bucks matchup. Cavs plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3 first half, plus 6 for the game. Donovan Mitchell over 30.5 points. Sam Morrell, who we're going to be heavy on this game, over 10.5 points, over 2.5 threes, 4 plus threes, 5 plus threes. Jarrett Allen over 11.5 rebounds and over 1.5 blocks. We would have been on Allen's point total, but it went up to 16.5. When he gets up to 16, 17.5, it normally is a game where he goes under. They seem to have that peg there on that one. When he's a 14 and 15.5, it's normally a game that goes over. So we will stay away from the point total on Jarrett Allen, but we still like the over 11.5 rebounds and over 1.5 blocks. And then Giannis over 2.5 turnovers. Next game up, Thunder at the Pelicans. One of the better matchups in the Western Conference you're going to find. Thunder, a 1.5 point favorite, going to New Orleans, 238.5 total. New Orleans smacked the hell out of the Wizards when they came into town. The Pelicans have been a shade inconsistent, especially, it's like going against the better teams that seem to struggle, which most teams do, but the bright lights don't seem to bring out the brightest, so to speak, for the Pelicans. The Thunder play well in most cases, period. Whether it's against a poor team, the only place they tend to struggle is on long road trips. This is the first game of the road trip, so we kind of like this situation here. We do like the Thunder in this matchup. We are not going to lay the 1.5, though. We are going to go money line on the Thunder, pay the little extra juice. I think it's well worth it on this particular matchup. But SGA's been pumping and firing. Jalen Williams has been playing well. Chet Holmgren has really slowed down here over the last 3 weeks. So you'll notice we don't have a ton of Holmgren props like normal. But we still like the Thunder here. So Thunder money line, first quarter, first half, and game. SGA over 32.5 points, over 1.5 threes. He did hit this mark in the last game as well. It was plus 190 when we hit it in the last game, down to plus 176 on that one. SGA over 44.5 par. Then we also like Jalen Williams over 18.5 points. Jalen Williams over 27.5 par. Chet Holmgren, we still like the over 2 blocks at plus 140. We're also going to take a small flyer on Chet Holmgren 5+ blocks on FanDuel at plus 700. The difference between 3 and 5, really not that much. And to be really honest, the Pelicans, they shoot threes, but they do like to drive the ball to the hoop a lot, which is going to give Holmgren a lot more block opportunities. A lot of teams they're really heavy 3-point shooting team. He's not going to get his block total on. I'm not saying the Pelicans don't shoot threes. They do, but Ingram and Zion and all those guys like to go to the middle, which is going to give Holmgren a few more opportunities. So therefore, we'll take a flyer on the 5+ blocks. Zion over 2.5 turnovers and Chet Holmgren over 1.5 turnovers, as that has come down to even money, as he has cleaned up his turnovers as of late. But don't expect that to become a long. When he plays in the middle, he gets more turnovers. If he's just strictly being a perimeter player, it definitely changes his turnover battles. It's more of a pass rather than dribble on that one. But we still like Holmgren over 1.5 turnovers. Well worth the risk there. So one more time in this Thunder-Pelicans matchup, Thunder money line, first quarter, first half, and game. SGA over 32.5 points, over 1.5 threes, over 44.5 par. Jalen Williams over 18.5 points, over 27.5 par. Holmgren over 2.5 blocks. Sprinkle a little bit on Holmgren, 5+ blocks. Zion over 2.5 turnovers, and Chet Holmgren over 1.5 turnovers. Next game up, Magic at the Grizzlies. Let's see, Grizzlies at home, 6-point home dog. Yeah, against the Magic. So the Magic went through a few week stretch without Franz Wagner. That really killed them. Their offense became extremely stagnant. Everything was around Banchero. Banchero couldn't lift up the extra, mustard, I guess, to get that team. They were scoring under 100 prolifically. We don't necessarily like the game or the total here. I'm not going to bet the Grizzlies as a road dog. A home dog. Who they got left? Jaren Jackson, who's inconsistent, and that's been his problem his whole career, just the consistency portion of it. So we're going to stay away from the side and the total. We do like some player props in the game. We're going to go back to Franz Wagner again. He's had a few games back. So we'll go over 18.5 points, over 27.5 par with him. Jaren Jackson under 1.5 blocks and over 3.5 turnovers. And Banchero over 2.5 turnovers. Banchero's point total is back down to 21.5. It's probably a spot to go over. We're going to lay off this, kind of see one more game of Banchero with Wagner back just to see if he gets back into the flow correctly on the offense. But if you're looking at that point total over for Banchero is not a bad play. Just didn't make our top list here. So one more time in this Magic and Grizzlies game. Magic, we're not going to take either side. Player props. Wagner over 18.5 points. Wagner over 27.5 par. That's Franz, not his brother. Jaren Jackson under 1.5 blocks, over 3.5 turnovers, and Banchero over 2.5 turnovers, and then the Magic under the 109.5 team total until they score 110. We're going to keep betting if they keep putting that number there on that one. Next game up, and the last game of the night is going to be Spurs, Trailblazers. Rule of thumb is that we've had is always going to be what? If the Trailblazers are on the road, bet against them. That's the case here. Even though the Spurs, one of the worst teams in the league, record-wise, is a 3.5-point favorite. So we're going to roll with the Spurs here. And, of course, we're going to have a bunch of Wemby action as well. So Spurs -1 first quarter, -1.5 first half, -3.5 for the game. Wemby over 24.5 points. We're also going to sprinkle a little bit of money on Wemby 30-plus points for a plus 235 on DraftKings on that one. Wemby over 1.5 threes. I think he'll have a lot of opportunity from the three-point line, especially in transition against the Trailblazers. So we'll sprinkle a little bit on plus threes. That was plus 470 on DraftKings for 3 3-pointers from Wemby. He definitely can hit 3 of them, no question about it. Wemby over 38.5 par, over 2.5 blocks, and over 2.5 turnovers. So one more time, the Spurs Trailblazers matchup. Spurs -1 first quarter, -1.5 first half, -3.5 for the game. Wemby over 24.5 points. I will tell you this, there was a couple 23s out there. They were juiced to -150. This is the highest point total I've seen for him basically all season long. He has been starting to score at an all-star level. The question is, can he continue this? I think he can. He got some weaker competition tonight. He has to go against 8 in the middle, but they don't really have a lot of other size to kind of compete with him, or physicality too. So Wemby 30+ points. Like I said, we sprinkled some money on there at plus 235 on DraftKings. Wemby over 1.5 threes. Wemby, which was plus money on FanDuel. Then we went to Wemby 3+ threes. So it went from plus 132 for 2 threes to plus 470 for 3 threes. We'll sprinkle just a little bit on that one as well. Wemby over 38.5 par, over 2.5 blocks, and over 2.5 turnovers. I mentioned this a couple times before. At the end of every episode we do, in the comments section, there will be a link to the Google Sheet. This is a list of all of our bets, what juice we got those at, how many units, also what book we ended up placing those at. A lot of people ask what books we place at. And typically we're DraftKings and FanDuel, unless we find ESPN Bet's another alternative for us. Caesars has been as well. Those are kind of the primary ones we deal with, unless there's some oddball bet that we need to get to. We've done a couple offshores for some fun stuff with Taylor Swift so far, but that's kind of primarily what we deal with. So you'll see DK for DraftKings and FD for FanDuel, or ESPN for ESPN Bet primarily, especially when it comes to basketball. Make sure you do check out that Google Sheet, though. You can see all of today's plays. You can see what we've done all season long. We've had a really good run in basketball all season. Also, football's been really good to us. Baseball was tremendous. So we've had a really good run throughout the seasons for this year and season. So make sure you do check that out when you get some time. And as always, if you can subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so when we drop our bets, you get those first. Makes life really simple. Once you hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on for YouTube, you'll be able to, once we drop a new episode with bets, you'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped a new episode. And you can just link right in there and check that out. And then take a look at all of our bets, match them up with your bets, and give you a ton of confidence heading to that betting app or betting window. I do appreciate everybody's support as always, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.